Welcome back to the Main Event Podcast. We're here with what is our final episode of the podcast. I'm Jez. That, as always, is Dan.
Me.
How the devil are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I had a bit of a bout of illness last week, which
Yeah, you did,
we were going to do an episode last Thursday, but yeah, I just had weird sinusy kind of stuff relating from a cold, and still got that a little bit because it's winter and they linger. But yeah, feeling a lot better now and generally getting on with life, that kind of thing.
Good.
So yeah, some of you out there may have picked up on the words that I said, that this is the last episode of the Main Event Podcast. Yes. In the last few days, we made the decision that we're going to bring the podcast to a close for a variety of reasons that we will probably get into some of over the course of this episode. But, largely, I think we probably feel that it's kind of run its course, really.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. We've been, how long have I been doing it with you? It's been
so
5
actually,
years or something, isn't it?
I think that we are, near as damn it on exactly 5 years of you doing it, because it was the January of 2020, before the world went to shit.
Yeah. Yeah, before lockdown and everything got screwed up.
Yeah, when there was somebody out there eating a bat or whatever it was that caused it. But I'd been doing the podcast solo since November, and then you agreed to come aboard in the December and bought a mic. I got a mic for Christmas, and then we were away as a twosome in January. Yeah, I can check because, I have the power, but off the top of my head, I want to say that our first episode was on the 13th of January of 2020.
There you go.
Shall I look and see how accurate
Are we
was?
placing bets?
Yeah, I mean, we might not want to place bets for my memory. That is never going to end.
Yeah, your
well.
memory's not great.
It is not. No. Although my long-term memory is vastly, vastly better than my short-term.
Yes.
Memory.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's see. Probably episode 5, 6. No.
Yeah.
5. I think it might be this one. No, that's still just me. Let's jump to episode 8. See what that one is. There's a Jez audio and a Dan audio section of this.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, I think this was the first one with you. Oscar versus Asker, it was called.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my God.
What?
Guess what the date actually is?
Did you get it nearly right?
No. Well, yes, but no.
Oh, okay.
It was actually January the 16th. It is exactly 5 years.
Flipping egg.
You could not make it up, could you?
That's mad.
Like the pure coincidence and happenstance that had to come together for us to have, made the decision a while ago to come and do this on the Thursday.
Yeah.
And then decide this week of all weeks that, we were going to call it a day for it to close out on the 5th anniversary of your first episode.
That's called, I don't really believe in signs and all that, but
I mean, signs do exist. Like the highway code is full of them.
Yeah,
for a start.
I know that. Yeah, don't get smart ass. Just because it's the last episode and you can say whatever the hell you want.
I'll do what I want.
Yeah. Do what I want, boy.
Yeah. Well, there you go. 5 years on the dot since you came aboard, and that's where we're closing it. But obviously life has moved on since we started this, and you have recently moved out and shacked up, as
absolutely
somebody says. I don't know who says that, whether it's kids or adults, but
I have no idea, but I don't think it's anyone nowadays.
Yeah, well, I think
you're showing your age, sir.
Oh, and that's the other problem, is I'm showing my age an awful lot recently. Yeah. So between you moving on in life, and I'm getting ready to move house as well, and that's going to be its own fresh bit of hell in terms of
and you're going to be doing a lot of renovation to it, aren't you? So
yeah, big time. So there would have been, long periods where I wouldn't have been able to do this show anyway. So but bringing it back to kind of the wrestling aspects of it, I don't know how you feel, but as much as wrestling is in the best place it has been in a very long time, I haven't seen, the wrestling business, as they call it, as healthy as it is in 2025, and as it was for the last year or so in 2024 as well. But I feel like the tribalism between WWE fans and AEW fans is probably at its worst. I remember some of the tribalism that took place between WWF and WCW back in the day. Again, showing my age quite greatly.
Your age,
but and I've come to the conclusion, and I'm going to drop a swear here because it's our last episode, and I quite frankly don't give a fuck. Yeah. In general, nobody gives a fuck what anybody thinks.
No.
In terms of wrestling and just life in general. It used, podcasts had their boom, and everyone was very keen to take in other people's opinions. And I like to think that I still live that way and want to listen to what everybody thinks and then come to a conclusion based on, various different viewpoints and evidences. But I'm not sure that is the prevailing kind of way of life at the moment. I think
no, it's not.
Especially in wrestling communities, people watch wrestling. They have their own opinion about what it is or what it should be, and they don't really want to hear from anybody.
I know. We usually say, "Do let us know your opinions, and we'll tell you why we're wrong." But we do say that as a joke.
Yes.
In like, say, on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, if someone has an opinion, they get slated for it. Especially, I think, as you said, with AEW and WWE at the moment, especially when there's talent coming from one company to another. Most recently, Penta coming from AEW. People just slating it. There's people going on there saying, "Oh, he's doing good on WWE. He's going to have a good run in WWE." And then people just straight on there bombard the poor person. It's not nice at the moment, shall we say?
No, and I think social media is really the biggest problem, and it's going to be, one of the biggest benefits, as far as I'm concerned, of stopping this podcast is that I won't have to use wrestling social media at all anymore. And kind of get into a little bubble and just enjoy watching wrestling without.
That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to enjoy the wrestling, and just enjoy it for see what I want to watch, what I want to enjoy. Don't care what anyone else thinks.
And I'm going to swing back to that note in just a moment, but or I would have if I'd have remembered what I was going to say instead, but I've forgotten, so I'll just swing to it immediately. What have you been enjoying watching in the last few weeks? Obviously, this is the first and last show of 2025. We haven't done a show since the end of 2024 and our year-end awards. So, and there's been a lot of wrestling happening. So, what have you been watching, enjoying the last couple of weeks?
I've been enjoying a lot of WWE. Especially now that it's on Netflix. It's more easily accessible, which I think, well, it is if you're a human and have a Netflix account.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll get to my thoughts about the whole Netflix thing in a minute. You carry
on. So I've been enjoying that, and especially with the Raw debut on Netflix, I think they did knock it out of the park. To be honest, yes, there was a few bits that let it down, obviously. Hulk Hogan, and But yeah, what else have we watched? I've been watching bits of New Japan
Mm.
on YouTube and stuff, and it's been cracking stuff. Bit of AEW, yeah, good. TNA. I've just been watching bits of all of it really, and just enjoying it all in general.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for the first time in a very long time, I didn't watch a few shows throughout like the Christmas period. Like I didn't end up watching the Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
You know that in the world of there is so much wrestling content at the moment, and good wrestling content as well. Like some of it, even if it is good, is going to go amiss.
Yeah.
And I think Ring of Honor is probably one of those things for me at the moment. Yeah, I've really been enjoying New Japan. We need to talk about Chris Charlton in a minute. I don't know if you've heard about all of that kind of stuff.
No, I haven't.
You
So
know,
you can
I'll explain it to you, and then we'll talk about it. In terms of WWE and Netflix, though,
yeah,
I also think it's great that it's all on Netflix. I've really enjoyed just being able to go to work the next day and be like, oh, I've got a spare 10 minutes. I'll just bring up my phone and watch, the first 10 minutes of NXT. Great.
Yeah.
Very convenient. I love the convenience of it. I loved the Raw Netflix debut. Was it perfect? No, not even close. No. It was a decent enough show. I feel like they could have done more to really hook people who were either watching WWE for the first time or watching WWE for the first time since the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
It was a pretty by the numbers premium live event experience.
Yeah,
4 matches and a lot of filler. A lot of filler.
Yeah, there was a lot of filler.
But
just quickly, tell me your opinion on the Hulk Hogan.
Oh, I think it's absolutely fantastic because he got booed. Like
I was just laughing.
Like they can keep bringing him back as long as crowds keep treating him like that. Like I'm all for that. That was go away heat, and
I know
he should either continue to be booed or go away.
My best friend, the one that I've talked on here quite a bit about, where I've corrupted her kids into liking wrestling and all that, and they're little kids, so they're only watching WWE at the moment. But she started to enjoy it, and they watched it, and she was messaging me while she was watching the Hulk Hogan bit, and she was like, "What the fuck is going on here? What's going on with Hulk Hogan?" And I was like, list off why.
And that was much the experience on social media as well. It's like, why are people booing Hulk Hogan? It's like, right, pull up a chair. Allow me to summarize the Hulk Hogan experience of the last 20 years for you. It includes racism, being buddies with Trump, having a reality show in which he treated his family like dirt, and tracked his own daughter using GPS while she was on a date, and many more. He has earned every single boo, and you love to see it.
Oh God, yeah,
you absolutely love to see it. So even though I felt there was a lot of filler in the Raw debut, the Raw premiere, whatever you want to call it, I have a bit of a problem with Netflix in that there isn't the filler internationally. There is the filler internationally. It's a bit all over the place. So let's use this week's Raw as an example. There's only been 2 on Netflix. We haven't got much to work from. But this week's Raw in the US was broadcast pretty much the same as it always has been, with commercial breaks. And it was segmented out into probably about 11 segments, as the old 2-hour shows used to be. Full runtime 2.5 hours. Cool. Internationally, during the commercial break, so for us here in the UK and in pretty much every country around the world, they had interviews and other videos and promos, filler, but still pretty decent stuff. There was a Logan Paul promo. And the Americans didn't see that. So, one of the people that they're using as one of the main attractions for for Raw on Netflix didn't get seen by American audiences at all, which is hilarious. But the thing that is winding me up about Netflix, and this happens for Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and will happen for everything, the muting of all of the sponsored stuff.
Yeah,
and all of the ticket sales, and it's just so jarring, and it winds me up.
It's when they have like the outside shot of the arena or something in it, and
you're just like
and
silence.
just silence, and then all of a sudden at the end, it just kind of, you just can't catch the end of something, don't you? And then it's just like.
Yeah, on the Raw premiere, when they had the Goodyear bit, and Michael Cole got really excited, and he was like, I have waited my entire broadcasting career to say this, because it's a classic, line that was always on, like, on football and things like, the NFL is sponsored by Goodyear. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. And it was just, he wanted to say it. It was a cool thing. And it's like, in my entire career, I've always wanted to say this. Aerial coverage provide...
Silence.
Absolute silence. Yeah, or they keep the music, but
they keep the music in
the ambience. But
do you want to know what's winding me up a little bit with this Netflix stuff?
What?
So they're getting a bit more into using the drones.
Oh, I don't like
in the arena. In the arena, which I think fine. If you can have someone that can fly the damn thing properly.
And if you put a decent camera on the drone, the quality of that thing's awful. It looks like I've got my old Nokia N-Gage and just put it on the front.
I'm really curious at what drone, because I'm a drone flyer myself.
Nerd.
I have a drone. Yeah. I'm proud of it, man. I'm doing a podcast on wrestling, so whatever. And I'm really curious on what drone they've got, because my drone is a small drone. It's about this big, but it's a proper professional drone, and it's got a 4K camera, and it shoots better shots than that.
Will it in an arena though, where the lighting is completely set up for certain styles of cameras and certain lenses? Because you've been to a WWE live event. The lights look completely different in person than they do on television. It seems like it's really dark in the room, but obviously on television it's super bright.
But my drone has filters built in, so it will automatically swap to sort itself out for the lighting. And what annoys me is they're not smooth with the drone. When they're doing the shots, it's kind of like it's like, just like gradually do it like that sort of thing.
I feel like they were better at it, because they first started using it last year, didn't they? I think Backlash France was one of the first real times that they used it, and they did the whole flying from outside in through the gap and then across, panning across, and that looks pretty decent. But why? I don't know why you're using it to try and get close to guys when they're like on the turnbuckle and stuff. You've got the big camera on the pole for that already. Like the boom camera, is it? I don't know the technical name.
I don't know.
But the big one on a stick that sits in the audience that can get right above the ring. That's what that's for. And that is, I would assume a 4K camera, because they filmed some stuff in 4K. They're not broadcasting in 4K, but I believe that they have upgraded to 4K for future use.
I'd like to think they do.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Then again, it took until 2008 for WWE to go HD, when most people had gone HD in like 2006. So it took them until then to go widescreen as well. People have been widescreen since 2002, since before you were even watching. Anyway, again, old person on a soapbox.
Old person rant there.
Once again, But so that annoys me, and it annoys me watching Netflix, NXT and SmackDown, that when you watch the American version, by whatever means that you deem appropriate, they have like a picture-in-picture thing in most of the commercial breaks
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they follow people backstage, even like not in matches. They do things where they like follow people backstage. On this week's NXT, there was a bit in which they followed Stephanie Vaquer around the back, like trying to find whoever it was she was chasing. I can't remember. Nothing, particularly special, but a little bit of extra content. Did Netflix give us any of that?
Nope.
No, not at all. No. Hold on 1 second. I've got a child interloper outside the room. 1 moment.
Child interloper.
Yeah, wouldn't be a final episode without a bit of chaos, right?
Bit of chaos.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah. So I feel like we could be getting more as an international audience for NXT and SmackDown, but now we just get pictures like NXT will be back in 1 minute 40 counting down in the corner.
Yeah.
Like, where's my extra content? I want extra content. So while it's great WWE is on Netflix and it's super accessible and it's bringing a lot of people back in, it's not perfect, and I feel like there's a lot of work still to do to really give a premium experience.
But like we said, this is early days.
Very early days.
They can work on it, can't they?
Yeah, I mean they've got it down for international audiences for Raw. There's absolutely no reason they can't be doing it for NXT and SmackDown as well. They practiced doing it, for NXT and SmackDown, because some of the dodgy satellite feeds that you can find on the internet, which just have the whole thing uninterrupted all the way through the commercial breaks, it showed them practicing that and did a fade to black, came back, talked for a bit, fade to black again, where the commercials was.
Yeah.
They've all practiced doing it, so they can all do it as far as I'm concerned.
Can all do it.
Yeah. They did it on NXT. They practiced it with the Raw guys who are now on SmackDown, so everyone has had a go.
Yeah.
Just crack on. Give us more content.
Yeah.
But you also said you watched a bit of New Japan.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of New Japan. Not too much, a little bit of New Japan. Just liking the style. Like that Phantasmo has finally got something to do, shall we say.
Yeah. He's the NJPW World Television Champion now, which is good. We both predicted that happening at Wrestle Kingdom, and I think it was fair that they threw him a bone, really.
Yeah.
How much of Wrestle Kingdom did you watch?
Not too much.
Okay.
If I'm honest.
So I'm going to talk about the match that happened at Wrestle Dynasty more so, the Kenny Omega Gabe Kidd match.
Oh, yes.
Which was, in the modern parlance, a banger.
Was it really?
It was a banger, yeah. So Gabe Kidd came to the ring, bearing in mind that he's, mega heel and a member of Bullet Club, came to the ring and revealed his shorts, which had giant NJPW logo on one leg, Bullet Club War Dogs logo on the other. And, he was being presented and was presenting himself as, I'm the New Japan guy. I represent everything that New Japan stands for. And I'm going to kick the shit out of this interloper who betrayed you and left to go to start his own company. And so the story of that was great because they really did beat 7 bells out of each other throughout the match, and it was brutal and it was really raw, but it was also a great wrestling match. But on commentary, there was Chris Charlton. Rocky Romero was on there as a guest, and Walker Stewart. During the match, Chris Charlton went on a few rants, shall we say,
right,
and dropped a few bangers of his own. in which
Right.
he, totally towed the New Japan line, was extremely anti AEW,
Right.
and said things like, Kenny Omega went to start his own company, and they've been poaching talent ever since. But what was the point? Kazuchika Okada's gone there, hasn't really done anything, and is basically just a walking meme now. I'm like,
okay.
go Chris.
We're getting into
in.
that then, are we?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then he said, he listed a few people like Will Ospreay, Jay White, like they've left. What have they really done in AEW that they hadn't already done here? And he was like, they keep banging on television about how the Continental Classic is better than G1 Climax, and it's like the Continental Classics couldn't hold a candle to G1 Climax. It's not even close.
No, I
They're
agree
not
with that.
comparable. Like, stop talking out of your ass type stuff. And he just really laid it on thick with anti AEW stuff, and you could really feel Rocky Romero getting pissed off with him as a guy that works for both. He helps run NJPW Strong and is a big AEW guy. He started getting heated back, and the two started really going at each other on commentary, and it was great. So go back and watch that match and the English commentary for it. But it was not received well, and Chris Charlton has been suspended for 2 months. Yeah, he won't be back until just before, I think it's Dominion. No, it's not Dominion. New Beginning, possibly. Or just before New Japan Cup in March. That's when he'll be back. And I'm like, you can't suspend this dude. He is the English commentary. I know Walker Stewart is there, and he's decent enough, but he can't speak Japanese, and so he kind of makes up what they're saying at the end of the shows now.
Yeah.
So he's talking about this. Like, is he? I don't believe you, non-Japanese speaker. Bring Chris Charlton back. He didn't really say anything that wasn't true. Should he have said it? No. Was everything he said true? Yes, it absolutely was. There was fact in everything that he said. And I say that as an AEW fan. I'm not an AEW hater. But everything he said was true. They poached all of New Japan's talent, and they are getting the bum end of the deal in this relationship. Spoilers for you. Kenny Omega beat Gabe Kidd.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
I get that Gabe Kidd probably isn't ready for the caliber of beating someone like Kenny Omega, but also,
at the same time,
why have this match if it wasn't to elevate Gabe Kidd?
Yeah.
The match itself elevated
if you're gonna have it with somebody to face Omega, have someone that is a genuine threat to pin him.
The problem is, all of those guys are in AEW now.
Yeah, that's very true. Or you could have your sexy Sonada pin him.
Sonada was barely on the show at all. I don't know what they're doing with Sonada, but
you need your sexy Sonada back.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a shirt for you.
Yeah. He goes by Cold Blooded now.
Yeah, but you'll know you will always know him as sexy Sonada.
He is. Yeah. The sexiest man in wrestling. Absolutely. Second to me, obviously, but as we end this podcast, I'm not in wrestling anymore, so it'll be Sonada, undisputed. You're welcome, Sonada. Keep up the good work. Yeah. But I would recommend, at least flicking through Wrestle Kingdom, especially. Wrestle Dynasty was it was mostly an AEW show in Japan.
Is Wrestle Dynasty the one where Mercedes Moné won more titles that she doesn't deserve?
Yeah, that was confusing because as far as I was concerned from the ring announcements and all the promos, those belts were not on the line. It was literally just for the strong women's title.
Rev Pro, or was it strong?
It was for the strong, and it was for another one.
I thought it was for the Rev Pro.
Yeah,
and strong.
but Mina Shirakawa had another belt as well. That was just handed to her, and she was there with like 4 belts. I'm like, oh my god, this has all gone terribly wrong. And they didn't address that on Dynamite last week.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I know Mercedes Moné has got creative control in AEW, but are we sure she doesn't have creative control in New Japan as well?
It does seem that way. Yeah, because I feel like being beaten by Mina Shirakawa was the best option for literally everybody.
Yeah.
In the world, but that didn't happen. Yeah, we both predicted that Shirakawa would take that, but yeah.
In the world.
Again, she doesn't have creative control in New Japan, or so we thought.
Oh, God, can you imagine if she does?
I think it's more that, they're kowtowing to Tony Khan, and so whatever Tony Khan says, or whatever Mercedes Moné tells Tony Khan to say, he says. And it's like, oh, no, of course, she's keeping the title. She's going to hold the titles forever.
I think New Japan need to try and back away from AEW.
I think this relationship is not working for them. It's working brilliantly for AEW.
I think we should screw AEW up by having a partnership with WWE and then New Japan, like TNA are doing with WWE.
And like Pro Wrestling Noah are doing with WWE.
Yes, exactly. Let's get all the companies.
Yeah, because Omos, the New Year show, won the GHC Tag Team Championship with the Scottish team Drew McIntyre. I can't remember his name. Johnny Morris, maybe?
Mini McIntyre.
Mini Mac, yeah.
Mini Mac.
Yeah. And I can't remember the guy's name, but there's one of the Noah guys hanging out with Josh Briggs on NXT, and they're going to apparently take over the tag team division.
Yeah.
Sure. You carry on, dude. So that's a partnership that's happening. They've got to find something for Omos to do because they're not finding anything for him to do in WWE. So.
I ain't got anything for him to do.
And they loved him in Noah. They love big, giant dudes in Japan. Yeah. I don't know why, but they really do.
Take that how you will, ladies and gentlemen.
It's like when A Train was released from WWE in like the mid 2000s, and he went to Japan and was over as shit. It was like the biggest thing in Japanese wrestling for ages, and then he tried to recreate it back in WWE again as Tensai, and they were like, mate,
oh god, Tensai.
I actually really liked that gimmick, and I'm really disappointed that it didn't pull off. It was much better than A Train or Albert.
But then they teamed him with
Brodus Clay,
Funkasaurus.
It was already dead in the water by then.
Oh, mate.
Yeah. I think that gimmick died the moment he took off the big samurai helmet and revealed his giant white face and was like, oh, hey, you're not Japanese. You've just painted some Japanese characters on your face. And that's where, oh, hey, you're Albert.
Don't we know you?
Yeah, we already know who you are. You're not Japanese. What is this? It's a shame because I really like that gimmick. And it'd come just after the other Japanese dude. I can't remember his name, but it was basically the same gimmick, and he was actually Japanese, and that didn't get over. But he was a big dude as well.
Yeah.
God, I can't remember his name. I'm gonna have to Google it while we
move
on to some things. What is that guy's name? What can I even Google? Japanese
WWE wrestlers.
2006.
Mid 2000s.
Obviously it's come up with Shinsuke Nakamura and Tajiri. No, that's not.
I remember there was Yoshitatsu.
And he is the leader of the stable that Omos has joined.
Nice.
2000X or something like that. Yeah. This is a racist question. People also ask, who is the Japanese guy in WWE? Thanks, Google.
Cheers, Googs. Cheers, Google.
Japanese wrestler in WWE mid 2000s. Yeah, it's still not Tajiri. As much as you keep trying to tell me it's Tajiri, it's not Tajiri. Best WWE Japanese wrestler ever. Okay, let's see what this list is. Ranked. Okay.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, let's not forget Kento is in WWE. Forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Funaki, no. Tiger Mask, no. Meiko Satomura, no. Taka Michinopura, no. Shinsuke. Why is Shinsuke Nakamura not the top of this list? What a stupid list.
Especially with his new gimmick.
Yeah. God damn it, come on. I'm never going to find this. It's going to wind me up. Yeah, Asuka's the top of the list, which, okay, I suppose, fair enough. But, like, Shinsuke's the 2. Come on now. Even though he hasn't won a belt. I'm never going to know. It's not going to happen.
You're going to be denied.
Yeah, it's going to wind me up for the rest of my life. Never mind. I'm sure the WWE archive on Netflix has got my back, and I'll just flick through some SmackDowns. He was on the SmackDown roster. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so that was New Japan. TNA has been TNA.
It's been okay.
Yeah. I didn't watch Final Resolution in December, but I did watch Genesis. No, I didn't. What did I watch? Did I watch Final Resolution? Yes, I did. Final Resolution was the one with the ladder match, wasn't it? And Genesis is
because Genesis is coming up because they've announced that it's going to be a collaboration between TNA and NXT.
Yeah.
Because WWE and TNA have signed a multi-year deal to work together.
Oh, have they signed a multi-year deal? Okay,
yeah,
great.
I actually saw that about half an hour before I came on it.
Cool. Yeah, Masha Slamovich was in the crowd on NXT this week. And I guess they remembered that their partnership was a thing. So and the Royal Rumble's coming up, and you got to get Joe Hendry in there, yo. So let's make sure that
I hope Joe Hendry's in it because that would be amazing.
He will be. Joe Hendry will be in it as the TNA World Champion. This going to happen. Like, they had to eat so much shit about the fact that they didn't have Joe Hendry win the world title at Bound for Glory. And it's like, yeah, okay, we made a mistake. Let's fix it at Genesis. And they will. Like, I can't believe they didn't put the world title on him at Bound for Glory at their biggest show of the year. It's just...
big mistake.
Mate, who's booking this? Come on now. Use your brain. He's literally the most over guy in all of wrestling in any company.
Yeah.
Put a belt on him before he goes, because as soon as his contract
disappears to WWE,
he's going to WWE or to AEW for a lot more money. Possibly is the other option.
I think he'll go to WWE though.
I think so too. You know, he's got the unprecedented deal of being able to use the Performance Center, even though he's not signed there, and it'll happen. But he's still got a long time left on his contract, so they'll probably want to milk that. As far as NXT is concerned, while he's there, and then sign him to the main roster afterwards.
Yeah,
show up and defend your TNA World Championship on NXT.
Yeah.
So if they've actually signed this deal now, does that mean they're going to announce more NXT people for Genesis on Saturday? Because they've got no one listed so far, or at last check that I did the other day. So.
I'm going to Google now.
Yeah. So while you're doing that, shall I move on to consulting my very high-tech piece of paper with tallies on?
Yes.
To bring us up to date with how things stand as we close out this show in our prediction competition.
Right, I've got a list of matches.
Okay, let's do this quickly. Then go on then.
So we got one pre-show, which is Kazarian versus Leon Slater.
That's like the 5th pre-show in a row for Kazarian, who is the number 1 contender for the he's got like the call your shot whenever you want world title shot.
Like that.
That's a good look. Yeah, okay. Right.
X Division Championship, Moose champion, Moose versus Ace Austin.
Is that on the pre-show?
No, this is on the main show.
Okay,
now.
Good. Thank God for that. And Ace Austin should win that. Okay, yeah.
Knockouts Tag Team Championship. The champions Spitfire versus Ash and Heather by Elegance.
Toilet break. Next.
Next, Josh Alexander versus Mike Santana.
I'm surprised Josh Alexander's still there, to be honest.
Yeah. Then, Jordan Grace versus Tessa Blanchard. Now that she's back.
Yeah. There are several opinions about that.
Yeah. Tag team championship, the Hardys versus the Rascals.
Should be a good match.
Then Knockouts World Championship, Clockwork Orange House of Fun match.
Oh yeah.
Masha Slamovich versus Rosemary.
Yeah. Because Raven announced that.
Yeah. And then finally, for the TNA World Championship, Nick Nemeth defending against Say His Name and He Appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Well, we certainly love him on this show, like they do in London, Paris, and Tokyo. Almost rhymed. Close enough. It'll do. Right, as I was saying, shall I go back to my very high-tech tally sheet to bring us up to date with our predictions?
Oh, yeah.
For the last
I need
show.
to get my belt.
Yeah, go get the belt. Get that on screen for the
I'm
last
back
time.
in a minute.
Well, he's back. He's back in right now.
I'm back in.
He'll be forward in a minute. There he comes.
Oh, wait. Bear with. There it is.
Bringing my belt closer to the camera. So although we are finishing this show, we've decided that we will still compete with each other for the Main Event Podcast World Prediction Championship because it's a sexy, beautiful piece of hardware, and we paid a lot of money for it, so we need to get the most out of it. Really,
if I can get it the right way up and twat the mic.
It's probably twatted the mic a lot more times than we have over the course of this podcast, to be honest with you. But there it is.
Look at the beautiful thing.
I'm not sure I've given any scores. He's going to fix his mic, is he? Oh, no, it's still there. Just couldn't see it.
It's still there.
It is here.
I don't think I've given out any scores since the end of the last quarter.
No, I don't think you have you?
No. So I went back to, Survivor Series, and then from then on. And the first prediction was from the World Tag League final.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going back.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. Which I got right and you got wrong, so that starts me off.
Fair enough.
As the one for the entire thing. Beautiful.
Okay.
Love to see it. Then it was NXT Deadline.
Yeah.
We scored 2 apiece.
Okay.
TNA Final Resolution.
Yeah.
Not a great showing from you. You had 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 8.
Oh my God.
Which is decent. Saturday night's main event. Both got everything right. 4 apiece. Oh no, 5 apiece.
What 4. A surprise.
Yeah. What is this? The New Japan Strong show in December, was it called Strong Style Evolved?
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah. We got 6 apiece on that. So another tie there. If you thought that TNA Final Resolution was bad, allow me to introduce you to Ring of Honor Final Battle. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I got 7.
Yeah.
You got 4.
Yeah.
Most of that is born out of the fact that you didn't bother predicting half the matches, so that helps. Although, of the 4 matches that you did not predict, I only got 1 of them right, so that didn't hurt too much.
That's all right.
AEW World's End, as is tradition for AEW, was the most predictable of all the shows. We got 9 apiece, which I think is only one wrong each.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
And there were a lot of pre-show matches that they threw in there that we didn't know about, so they didn't get predicted. New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I got 8 for that one, and you got 6.
Mm-hmm.
mostly in the early matches. Wrestle Dynasty, we only managed 5 each. And then coming to more recently, the Raw on Netflix debut. I only got 1 right. You only got 2
I got
right.
3.
No, you got 2. Yeah.
Was it only 2?
Yeah.
What did I predict then? What did I get wrong?
Jey Uso beat Drew McIntyre, so you didn't get that one.
So I
same as
predicted
me.
Roman Reigns,
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley,
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, but Jey Uso beat him.
Yeah.
And I predicted CM Punk.
Oh yeah, I didn't give you that one then. Okay.
Don't be cheating me, man.
I do remember that one. Oh, but I should have 2 as well because I totally fucked that one up. Because I had Roman Reigns and Rhea Ripley. I also went with Drew McIntyre. But then for the last match, I went with no contest. Because I thought they were going to kick off the show with it and then just have them like really go at each other and
beat the crap out of each other,
and it not happen, and then them redo it again at Saturday Night's Main Event or something. But
what about NXT New Year's Evil?
That's the last one we have in all of this. Neither of us did particularly well. I had 3, you had 4.
Okay.
So it didn't really matter that I cocked that up because I took a point off each of us, but I suppose it pads our score by 1 a little bit. So the score's on the doors for this final episode of the Main Event podcast. There's only a few weeks left until the end of this quarter.
Yeah.
And all signs point to everything coming up. Jez.
Yeah, I think so.
I am on 56. You are on 49.
Yeah, quite a way.
However, this is pretty much how things stood a few weeks before the end of the last quarter as well, and I still managed to piss that away. So I'm not counting my chickens yet.
It's still able for me to.
It
retain,
is still possible.
Shall we say.
Yeah, there's still a lot of wrestling to happen between now and then. Yeah, including Genesis this weekend, and I think then we've getting back
Saturday night main event.
Yeah, Saturday night's main event, and the Royal Rumble itself. Is there an AEW? Does Grand Slam take place before Royal Rumble? I don't think it does.
Know.
I think it's afterwards. Yeah.
I don't know, but any pay-per-view will be about 10 years long anyway.
Probably, yeah. Although World's End came in just under 4 hours, which was pretty curt for
pretty
AEW.
amazing. Is that including the pre-show though?
No.
What, the 0 hour that's not an hour?
The 0 hour and 2 more hours, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, not quite. Yeah. Yeah, so I hope to get my belt back.
Yeah.
If I do get my belt back, none of you will know because
no.
I'm going to ditch most of my social media after we finish this. So just going to go and crawl into a hole and you'll never see me again. So sorry about that.
Oh, well, what a shame. Bye.
Yeah, what a pity. Yeah. So I think we are coming towards the end of this, our final show. Do you have any final thoughts, any memories, any, favorite moments, anything that you want to talk about? Being that this is our final episode of the Main Event podcast.
It's been one hell of a ride, shall we say? Not to be cliche or whatever,
Yeah. Most podcasts don't last more than like 5 months, let alone 5 years. So.
We've managed to do it for 5 years. It's been a great ride. I have to say to you, thank you so much for having me join the podcast. It's been great to have someone to talk wrestling to. It's been fantastic. I can't really pinpoint one moment of the show, that's been fantastic. It's been all of it, to be honest, has been great.
There are certain things that when I think back in wrestling, they will always be linked to like the conversations that we had about it here on the show. Most notably, when they introduced the new United States Championship belt.
Yeah. Ball bag belt.
Thanks to this podcast, that will always be the ball bag belt. And now they've got a women's ball bag belt as well. So
just with little balls.
He's got little tiny balls underneath the
tiny balls.
Yeah. So that was cool. I still see the odd thing pop up on my Facebook memories, which again I won't see anymore because I'm going to yeet Facebook into the sun. But when we did one of our first like live episodes broadcast on the internet using StreamYard. Remember StreamYard?
Yeah, God, I remember StreamYard.
I, for some reason, I can't even remember why, tore a little Hulk Hogan mustache out of paper and put it on my face.
Oh God, I remember that.
Yeah. I don't know why I did that, but then I did the rest of the show as Hulk Hogan. This was before the racism and Trump
sexism
love and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not sure it was before the sexism. I think he's always been pretty sexist, but changing times
actually,
and all that.
One thing I do remember, which I enjoyed, was when we used to do the retro rosters, and we did the retro roster where we went back and tried to find like the oldest wrestling clip we could find.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd had several that were kind of like starting as the oldest we could find and then working its way up. I have to admit I enjoyed that because watching the origins of wrestling was really fun.
Yeah, that was really cool. Since that point, and maybe we should, not for the show or anything, but just for our own enjoyment, they have found even older wrestling now.
Really?
There is. I think it's from 1898.
Wow.
They managed to record it, and it's only recently been released out there. I bookmarked it. I'll try and find it, but that is. I don't think there's anyone alive from 1898 anymore.
Well, no. It's over. What is it?
That would be 127 years, is it? Something like that. So yeah. I mean, even if you were born in that year, you wouldn't be alive now. So to think that we can go back and watch that, and that it's it kind of holds up as long as you aren't expecting like the glitz and the glamour of it, but in terms of the submissions and the catch as catch can part of it, it still holds up pretty well with modern wrestling. So that it just struck me that I remember that's a thing we should definitely dig that out and give that a watch. That's a lot of fun. But the reason that I started this show in the first place was just because wrestling was terrible in 2019, and I had to get my dislike of what WWE had become off my chest in some way. And things weren't much better when you came on.
No,
we still had Eric Rowan keeping fake spiders in cages.
The spider thing.
Lana and Lashley's relationship and all that kind of stuff.
Daniel Bryan was still with WWE,
just barely. Yeah. And then the pandemic came along.
Yeah,
and it did force us to really up our game for this show. We went live, got a whole load of new equipment, and that was cool. That was a real boom period for us, the pandemic, much as it was with everything, because you had time to just sit and be creative, and that was a real cool period. But still, wrestling was not good in that period. We had things like the greatest wrestling match ever
between Edge and Randy Orton.
Yeah. Don't get me started on this new Cope name, honestly.
The rated R superstar. Cope.
Yeah, Cope is what FTR have when they were trying to say that, Adam Copeland can jump off a cage if he wants. He's earned the right to jump off a cage like a reckless twat. Like, shut the fuck up, you dick.
But not if he's going to land like
Cope.
a twat.
Yeah. Major Cope. That's what he had.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, and then we've kind of really just kept things in that kind of status quo, changed up the format a little bit a few times, just talking about pay-per-views, talking about everything, talking about pay-per-views, talking about everything, and Yeah, and we got a sexy ass belt along the way.
Too right.
2 sexy ass belts along the way. Yeah, even that first one was sexy in its own way.
Yeah.
Changed the name of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we were the main roster, weren't we?
We were for a very long time.
Which that's on the old championship belt.
Yep, which is already packed in a box waiting for me to move house.
Oh yeah, I forgot you had it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've still got it.
You can display it with pride.
I will do. Yeah, I'm going to put it up in my new garage come workshop come shed.
There you go.
Yeah.
That'll look good. With your TNA belt, I'm guessing.
Yeah, which is packed as well with it. Yeah. No, I've got very little in this room or any of my rooms. It's all in boxes.
Fantastic.
Which is kind of apropos for, the closing out of this show. Everything's in boxes. Yeah. We're packing up and we're moving on.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to thank you for those last 5 years,
It's been a pleasure.
Before you came on to the show, you were, just a dude that I sold plastic stuff to. And,
you did.
And we've definitely become firm friends over this
Absolutely.
5 years. And we really didn't know each other at all when I brought you on board on this. It was like, oh yeah, you like wrestling. Like, fancy coming and chatting wrestling with me?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And the rest, as they say, is history. It's been a great run.
Absolutely.
It's been a lot of fun. We'll still do this.
Yeah, we'll still have a chat.
Get together and chat wrestling every couple of weeks. It's just you won't see it, and
you guys won't see it, so
then it won't be available by Spotify or on YouTube or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone that has tuned into us, be it now, last week, or at any point in the last 5 years. I remember a lot of names that used to be regulars that we lost along the way, but thank you to everyone that tuned in.
Yeah.
Thank you to the various sponsors we've had over the years, going all the way back to LSW Mind Cards. Remember them?
God, I remember that.
Yeah. That was a good period of sponsorship. That was.
Yeah.
We liked segueing into their sponsorship blurbs quite well. And most recently, still down there in the corner, into you, Goat Energy Drinks. Got yourself a goat. Can I just say, because being as I can be completely honest now, there's absolutely nothing to lose. I genuinely do love a Goat Energy drink. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just me, embellishing all this time and
doing
saying
it
what
for
I
the
need
money.
To. I hate energy drinks and but it's like the first one that I can drink, and I'm like, hey, that doesn't taste like acid. Like, it's great. I really love the cherry one. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't mix it with rum. That was a terrible, terrible mistake. One of the biggest mistakes of my life
on your part.
But just drinking the cherry one straight up, that's cracking. I love it. And it's still there if you would like to try what is genuinely a fantastic drink. Like, I'm not going to get anything for it, but you can. Use the code Jez10, you get free shipping, 10% off it. It's well worth it.
There you go.
I'm going to get nothing for it now. So I've got no real investment in it. Just go and drink something nice.
There you go.
Goat Drinks is that thing. I think that pretty much covers it.
That's about it, isn't it? Yeah.
So I'm going to press the button for a pre-ending. I'm going to thank you once again. It's been a blast. This has been the Main Event Podcast, our random show with ball bag belts and spiders in cages and matches that happened, all the things. And along that ride, I have been Jez.
I've been Dan.
And we're signing off for the last time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.